The Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection is in possession of text messages sent by Ginni Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. The texts were reportedly obtained through voluntary disclosure by Meadows late last year before he ceased cooperating. In the messages, Ginni Thomas repeatedly encouraged Meadows to help overturn the 2020 presidential election. On November 5, 2020, one day after the election, Thomas wrote, "Biden crime family and ballot fraud co-conspirators, elected officials, bureaucrats, social media censorship mongers, fake stream media reporters, etc., are being arrested and detained for ballot fraud right now and over coming days, and will be living in barges off Gitmo to face military tribunals for sedition. Help this great president stand firm," Thomas wrote to Meadows on November 10, a day after the election was called in Biden's favor. "I will stand firm, we will fight until there is no fight left. Our country is too precious to give up on, thanks for all you do," Meadows replied. Thomas urged that Trump should not concede because it takes time for the army who is gathering for his back, and said the left was attempting the greatest heist of our history. "Release the Kraken," Thomas admonished Meadows, referring to the unfounded conspiracy theory that massive voter fraud and secret cabals unjustly caused Trump to lose the 2020 election. Following the January 6th insurrection, Thomas lamented their failure to overturn the election, saying, "We are living through what feels like the end of America. Most of us are disgusted with the vice president." The Select Committee is reportedly considering calling Ginni Thomas for a voluntary interview about her text messages and involvement in undermining the election. According to the New York Times, Representative Liz Cheney has been the main roadblock to obtaining testimony from Thomas. Liz Cheney has wanted to avoid any aggressive effort that, in her view, could unfairly target Justice Thomas, the senior member of the Supreme Court. On Friday, despite the potential for political backlash, Ms. Cheney indicated she has no objection to the panel asking Ms. Thomas for a voluntary interview. The trove of messages sent by Ginni also brings into question her husband's ability to rule impartially on the highest court in the nation. Unlike all other federal judges, the justices of the Supreme Court are not subject to a code of ethical conduct. Congress could impose a code of ethics on the court, but has so far been hesitant to do so given the separation of powers and desire to maintain an independent judiciary. There is nothing stopping the Supreme Court justices from developing their own ethical code. A code of conduct similar to that of lower courts would require a justice to disqualify himself in any proceeding in which his impartiality might reasonably be questioned, including issues that involve a justice's spouse. Representative Mo Brooks has been a staunch supporter of Donald Trump over the years, even speaking at the rally preceding the January 6th insurrection wearing body armor. The two appear to have broken off their relationship last week, however, in a very public squabble over Brooks' Senate candidacy. Until the addition of two serious Republican candidates, Mike Durant, a retired Army helicopter pilot, and former business counsel of Alabama President Katie Britt, Brooks was the frontrunner in the race to replace retiring Senator Richard Shelby. At the time, with poll numbers above 40%, Trump endorsed Brooks as a great conservative Republican leader, who will stand up for America first. Now, having lost nearly 25% of support in less than a year, Trump decided to rescind his endorsement. Mo Brooks of Alabama made a horrible mistake recently when he went woke and stated, referring to the 2020 presidential election scam, "Put that behind you," despite the fact that the election was rife with fraud and irregularities. Brooks did not take Trump's unendorsement lightly. In his own statement, Brooks revealed information that the January 6th Select Committee will likely find very interesting. "President Trump asked me to rescind the 2020 elections, immediately remove Joe Biden from the White House, immediately put President Trump back in the White House, and hold a new special election for the presidency. As a lawyer, I've repeatedly advised President Trump that January 6th was the final election contest verdict and neither the U.S. Constitution nor the U.S. Code permit what President Trump asks. Trump reportedly asked Brooks to remove Joe Biden from the White House on multiple occasions over the past 6 months. "I know what the legal remedy for a contested presidential election is," he continued. "There is one and only one per the Constitution and U.S. Code, and it occurs on the first January 6th. After each presidential election,